We're going to see if we can get ChatGPT to completely autonomously create a video game right here on the spot, live in this chat. Let's go. I said in this chat, didn't I? I meant to say in this stream. Live TV, folks, live TV, or live YouTube, folks. Let's see if we can get some music going in here real quick. Let me know if this works. Let's get the Nightbot music going. So, here's what we're talking about. If you're familiar with ChatGPT, and most of you probably are by this point, we're going to use a variation of ChatGPT. So you have ChatGPT, which is that web-based, friendly, user-friendly front end. And it has limitations, right? You can't, it can't access the internet. You can't, there's a lot of things you can't do. You can't send it large text. You have limitations. Then there's the API. And the API is most easily accessible through Python. So if you know how to program in Python, you can easily access that. And it because of the Python, it extends those capabilities, okay? So it gives you the ability, and I see hello to everyone in chat. By the way, I'll take this break real quick to say hi to everybody in chat and thanks for joining us. And so the API combined with Python allows you to do things like access the internet, chunk large text, and just a whole lot more. And then you have frameworks like LangChains that allows you to string together multiple applications and multiple agents doing a lot of things all at once. And now we have what's called Auto-GPT. Auto-GPT is, some people are almost calling it a spark of AGI or artificial general intelligence. Don't know if I believe that, but I can tell you I've been messing around with this thing for the last 3 days, and it is pretty much freaked me out in how autonomous it really is, how it sets up agents and cross communicates and makes its own decisions, course corrects, and pretty much does anything you want it to do. So since I'm a game developer and this is a channel completely based on arcade games and technology, cool tech, thought it'd be really cool to hang out tonight and watch this thing live create a video game. I did mess around with this earlier and found some limitations and I'm glad I did because now I know how to work around that. So let's go ahead and get this started. So we're going to start in the terminal, and let me know if you could hear the music. Let me know if, and I'll adjust the music if I can. Should be Nightbot. Get some background music going in here. We turn it up just a little bit. And so what we're going to, and I just want to get into this. I don't want to really get into too much about like what Auto-GPT is and how to install it or whatever. Just know that this is an autonomous variant of ChatGPT. It does require Python programming knowledge, a little bit at least, and a little bit of command line knowledge. And it's still in development stages. It's not perfect. It has its bugs. And what I did, there's a lot of people complaining about it. There's a lot of people saying that it doesn't work and it's too buggy. Well, you just have to switch to the stable branch. So I'm on the stable branch. I've pulled all the updates. We're going to see if we can get this to go. So here we go. Oh, and the other thing is too, it uses ChatGPT 4, or it can. I don't have access to the ChatGPT 4 API, so we're using GPT 3, which is going to be Chat 3.5 Turbo. Okay. All right. Let me know about that music. All right. So here we go. We're going to start this up. And here we go. And man, that music's loud in my ear. I'm going to turn it down. All right. So we're going to start new. It's going to ask us to give us, or it's going to ask us to name our instance of GPT here. So I'm going to call it Game Dev GPT. Perfect, right? Okay. Game Dev GPT here at your service. So describe your AI's role. So this is going to be an AI designed to autonomously. And I don't know if this entire thing's going to work this round or not. We'll see how far it gets. I know it did impress me. Oh, I need to switch something here. It did impress me before with some game design documents that it created, but it sort of hallucinated a little bit. And man, that volume is loud in my ear. All right. It did hallucinate a little bit. And what I mean by that is it made stuff up. It said, okay, now that we created the game, and I'm like, wait, where are the game files? You didn't create a game. So, but I know it has the capability to write code and dump the code onto into a directory. So and I misspelled that, didn't I? All right. Okay. There we go. Okay, autonomously. Let's see. Design, develop, and no Oxford comma for me, and program video games. There you go. There's your role. All right. So now, and by the way, this thing was originally designed to like come up with business ideas and things like that. But I mean, it does a lot of different things. All right. So goals. So we're going to come up with a let's see, I don't know, video game idea, and I'm going to specify what language to program in. And I tried to have it do it on mobile. I want to be able to, if it creates this thing and it does it properly, I want to be able to demo that game right here on the stream. So I'm going to tell it to create a game in Python, and it's probably going to be something like Pygame. So I come up with a video game idea that is simple to play, but difficult to master, like Atari, right? All right. Okay. And then we're going to say, write. We're going to say design the game. And then we're going to say create the game. By developing all of the scripts in Python. Tell it, is it going to be a game in Python? And then we're going to tell it output all of the scripts, code, and files to my local computer. And then once that's done, we can tell it to shut down. Now there's an autonomous mode. You can literally tell this to go into complete autonomous mode to where there's no interaction. I just sit here and watch it. However, I would like to be able to stop at intervals and to be able to take a look at what it's doing and comment on it from my perspective. So we are going to try that. But all that, literally, I'm not going to redirect it. I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to do anything. Okay, well, 2 is the lowest music can go. So I'm not going to do anything other than just hit yes, yes, yes. But it's going to give me that pause interval. Outside of that, it's going to be completely autonomous. Okay, here we go. Oh, I guess I should. There we go. There we go. So it's thinking, and we're off. This is we're going on a ride here. Thinking. All right, here we go. So, and I'm not going to read through everything, but I'll just point certain things out. So here's its first thoughts. It comes up with these concepts. It says, to come up with a video game idea that is simple to play but difficult to master, I need to brainstorm some fun mechanics that can be built upon. One idea that comes to mind is a game with a player control. So it's literally thinking about these ideas. You have the reasoning here, a brainstorm, and the games that can be built in Python. And then here's the plan: develop the concept, and then use generate image command to create concept art. I don't know exactly if that's a real command. Sometimes it does kind of hallucinate commands, but I have seen this thing literally write its own code. So if there's not a command, if there's something that's not working, it will literally write its own code to try to get things to work. It's phenomenal. All right. I'm just going to tell it go. Yep, that's good. So, and it gives itself its own critique, right? So it says, I need to make sure the game stays true to the initial concept, blah, blah. And so here we go. All right, next step. And yeah, so image generated for, and if you go, if I show you the files there, you can see it already generated that image right there. You can see the image ID number is the exact same. So it generated that image, put it on my computer. I don't know what that image is. I want to go look at it real quick. What is the image? Okay, that's pretty cool. So that's the image right there that it literally just generated. I think it generated that. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's move along. Nothing to see here. All right, next step. I'm actually impressed by that. All right. So now it's going to Google. Oh yeah, so we did say video games, Google video games with dimension shifting mechanics. So that's the concept we're going with, dimension shifting. So it's Googling. So remember, so ChatGPT 3 doesn't actually have internet access, but because of Python and using the API, you can give it internet access, and then you take that internet access and you feed it to the GPT agents for it to interpret. And it's also contacting the agent here in order to interpret commands, and it's to do all the thinking. All right, so here's more thoughts. So based on my search results, it seems like video games with dimension shifting mechanics are becoming increasingly popular. And I think this could make for an interesting game mechanic. I can use this as inspiration for my own game. And notice it's not telling me for your game, you can do this. It's literally, it has taken on the persona, and it is actually saying it's my game. I'm developing it, and from its own first person perspective. So so I want to have a detailed plan. So use the search results to create basic game design document, determine the mechanics, levels, puzzles, start programming the game mechanics in Python, continuously evaluate. So here we go. This is see how far it gets. So notice we are running in this thing here, attempting to fix JSON by it does this thing here. Apparently JSON was fixed. So it runs into JSON parsing issues, but it can fix them. So this thing, I've seen this thing have code errors and it fixed itself. So that's what we mean by, like, we're getting close to AGI. So the artificial general intelligence, where it does autonomous thinking. Now that I have researched similar games, developed a plan for my own game. So it says it's developed a plan, but it hasn't given me that plan yet. I haven't seen it, but it says it's developed a plan. So this is what I was talking about. Sometimes it hallucinates. I don't know if it's actually doing these things. It may have kept it in memory, and it may be planning on documenting it later, but this is what I found before. So let's see if it actually does, if it is going to develop this, or if it's going to give me the documents that it says it's developed. So that's going to, so now let's develop. So including the interface, it's going to do this. So it's going to create a user interface using Pygame. See, that's what I thought when I said earlier. I figured that if I told it was to use Python, I figured it was going to go to Pygame. So that's what it's doing. It automatically knew to go to use Pygame. Start working on the game logic, including dimension shifting mechanics and puzzle solving elements, and then test the game. See, it talks a good game, pun intended. I just don't know if it's going to actually be able to have the follow through. So as you can see here, so now it's actually starting an agent. It's creating a GPT agent, and it's creating a Pygame tutorial agent. And the task is to provide the developer with a beginner's guide to using Pygame. So it wants to learn how to use Pygame to develop the game. And so it's getting a Pygame tutorial, import Pygame. It's actually writing code here. Create Pygame window. So, so it's creating a tutorial for the game, I think. So here's where I ran into the issues earlier. So what it does, it talks about it starts to develop this code, but I never see it, and it puts it in memory, I think, but I don't, and it's got a large cache of memory, but I have yet to see it actually write that code into a file and save it on my local hard drive. All right, so next task, there's nothing. It's still doing. So the plan is to create a simple menu screen with options for starting a new game. So apparently it's going to continue to write code. And so that was a basic. You look right here. That was a basic hello world. I don't know if you see my cursor or not. I forgot to install the Microsoft tools to show arrows and stuff. But so that was a hello world program just to get started. All right, so now that I have a basic plan for the user interface, I can focus on developing the game logic. It's going to start by designing and implementing the dimension shifting mechanics using Python. I really wish it would have developed the game docs and saved those ideas onto my hard drive. It may still do that, but that's what it did when I played around with this before. So it's going to start developing the game logic now. And of course, here's its reasoning, because the game logic is a critical part, obviously. And it's going to implement the dimension shifting mechanics using Python. And here's what it's going to do. Okay, it's going to use the write to file command to create a Python script defining the dimension shifting functions and test them out. So here's where it's going to save it to my computer, and then it's going to evaluate the code. So it's actually going to run the code to check it for errors. And it has its thought pattern is it needs to make sure that the mechanics aren't too complex for players and everything's there. So what it's going to do, it's going to create a file here. And I guess this is what it was doing up there. It was writing the code. So it's going to write this file, dimension shifting pi, and I'll switch to the file explorer so you can see it there when it does it. And it's going to import any necessary libraries or modules. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I didn't think about that. So I don't have the Pygame library on my computer. So I wonder if it is actually going to be able to import. I don't think it is. We'll see. It may not be able to actually test it. Let's go. Let's see. And there it is. Look at that. It has already. I'm curious about that. I want to open that up and see it. So it did create the file, but there's hardly anything in there. I don't think it's real. It's 1 kilobyte. I don't think there's anything in there. All right. Okay, let's check it real quick. Hold on. Let's see what it says next. Now that I've created a Python script defining the dimension shifting functions, maybe it did. I can test them out and debug any issues that arise. I can use the append to file command to add any additional functions or code needed for testing dimension shifting mechanics. Again, let me remind you, it came up with this game concept on its own, dimension shifting mechanics and all that. It's doing all of this. All I'm doing is reading what it's doing here. All right. So it's going to try to do something here. It's going to test it. It's going to look at it, and it's going to pin the file. But first, I want to open this up. Before I do anything, I actually want to open this up. I'm going to open this with Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to have to pull it over there. I don't believe it actually did what it said it was going to do. So here, let me expand on this for you. Hold on. All right. So this is what it wrote. All it did was say import any necessary libraries or modules here. So it didn't actually do any of that. Then it defined shift dimension, and then it takes current dimension and desired dimension, but yeah, that's pretty minimal. I think it's hallucinating. So, all right, let's see what it does next. I need to shut that down because I don't want it to. All right, I'm going to close that. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up the folder. Yep, it's perfect. Yeah, that's the one I want to open up right there. There, that I can automatically open anything that it does. So your Git repository is found in the parent folder's workspace. Would you like to open the repository? Sure. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm fine. All right, let's go back to the terminal and let's go to the next step. What's up, Cactoid Jim? Catching up on 2x. All right. I can talk really fast like this. When you get to this part, it's going really, really fast. All right, so it's doing something. And let's go to that file. So I'll go to the file view there so you can see it. You can't see the file size. Let's go to desktop for you. And what did it do? I don't think it did anything. So now, see, it's hallucinating. I don't, so it says, now that I have tested the dimension shifting functions and added any additional code to the game, I can begin working on implementing the puzzle solving elements to the game, but it didn't do anything. I don't think it did. So let's open that back up. So let's go back to our desktop and let's open up our. Yeah, it didn't do anything. It's completely hallucinating. It didn't actually do anything. So I have a choice here. Close that real quick. All right. So I have a choice here. I can let it go, let it continue to go, and let it think that it's developing something. Or I can give it advice here. I can give it feedback. I think this time, for the sake of, I don't know, what do you think? So this time, for the sake of trying to get it to actually work, because I know it's not going to work. So I'm going to give it feedback, and I'm going to tell it, but you didn't actually do anything, and just see what it does. All right. So I'm going to say, in puzzle games with dimension shifting mechanics, I'm going to say, I'm going to go ahead and say no. I'm going to say, because you didn't actually update the dimension shifting.py code. Please write the actual code for the game first by appending dimension shifting.py. All right. Human feedback. Taking that into account. Perfect song going on for that. Again, I don't know if y'all can hear the music. Cactoid said he just blew past the part where I started talking fast and he said it was epic. Can you hear the music? My background music playing? It's I'm using Nightbot. I don't know if it works or not. Ooh, look at this. So, oh shoot. Okay, yeah. So it's thinking a lot, and I don't see any file progress being done. I think I just blew its lid. So it's my feedback. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. So I'm not going to give it any more feedback. Cactoid Jim says, let it go. Let us see the dream of the electric sheep. Yes. All right. All right. So this was interesting. Now, all right. So it took a little bit. It did fail to parse the AI output. So it attempted to fix it. I don't know if it fixed it. So it does that sometimes. Sometimes it has parsing issues, and sometimes it either feeds bad prompts to the GPT agent, or it can't parse the feedback for some reason, and it will usually fix itself. So here it says, I have appended, I don't believe it. I don't think it did. I have appended a basic Python script for the game to the dimension shifting pile file. I don't believe it did. The next step is to begin implementing the dimension shifting mechanics. Okay, I'm gonna let it go and take y'all's advice, and I'm gonna let it go and see if it will actually do that. But the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna I'm gonna see if it actually did what it said it did. It did not. If it did anything, it put a comment, but it didn't actually write any code. Okay, so y'all don't hear any music. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit and see if you could hear it then. All right. See if you can. I just turned it up a little bit. I'm just learning how to use Nightbot, and trying to see if I can get that. You can like request songs and stuff too somehow. I don't know how. All right. I think you can do like yeah, I don't know. Not important. All right. So yeah, I don't see that it actually may have done that. Okay. So let's close this down. And all right, let's see if we can, let's see what it'll do now. All right, let it go. You go. Okay, so it does this, like command error through the following error, missing command object in JSON. So that's fine. It'll get past it. All right. So I found some games. So it's like it started over. I don't know if it's continuing to do research, but before it told me that it's already written some code. And now it's telling me that it's like it's going back and researching again. So, and it did this before. So I found some games with dimension shifting mechanics to take inspiration from my game. From what I found, it seems that dimension shifting can be used to create puzzles and alternate paths. I will now create a detailed plan for my game. So I don't know. It wrote some code. Now it's going to create a detailed plan. We'll let it go. It's kind of working out of order, but that's fine. Now I can tell it, in addition to being completely autonomous, I can also tell it, as you can see right here, I can tell it, yes, continue for a number of commands. So like earlier today when I was messing around with this thing, I would tell it yes and 100, and then I'd go and cook dinner and do all kinds of stuff, come back, and it's still working on itself, on its own. But right now I like to stop. I want to stop and see what's going on here. So so to create the game, I will start by breaking it down into more manageable components. Like I don't know what it was doing before. Maybe it was warming up, but now it's gonna, I don't know. So it's gonna use Pygame to create the interface. It maybe whenever I did this here, maybe whenever I threw it for a loop, whenever I gave it feedback, wherever it was. Well, anyway, I'm thinking that I threw it for a loop when I gave it feedback and it started over, but that's all right. Let it go. Okay, yeah, keep going. Well, it's a shame if y'all can't hear the music because I'm jamming to it. All right, part of the concept of creating a game that is simple to play but difficult to master involves coming up with a central mechanic. Wait, is it starting over? Okay. So the dimension shifting, the mechanic could involve transforming the game's environment. Okay, so it's still trying to do some game design and development here. It looks like. So let's keep going. It's not going to do anything. As you can see here, it's just going to keep doing its thing. It's going to keep following these plans, but there's nothing to pass to the agent or search the internet or whatever. It's still thinking internally using its own programming. All right. So it looks like it's actually going through a more thorough process of game design this time. It kind of jumped into it quickly and started trying to quote unquote write code. But now, so after refining the game's central mechanic, I don't know if that means it thinks it wrote code or if it's just refined the design. I'll begin incorporating more complex puzzle solving elements into the game. To do this, I will continue to use Google search. Okay, it's going to do some more Google searching, but it keeps telling me it's doing stuff and I don't see the results anywhere. So it's going to search for inspiration, designing. Okay, design and code new puzzles. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Evaluate the code to check for bugs. Man, I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Now, ironically, you can, I've used ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3.5 I've used GPT 4 and I've used ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3.5 to write a lot of code. So it's interesting to me that it's kind of writing code here, but it's not dumping it really out on my desktop. All right, so what do we have here? So it says basically from the search results, it's identified things, and now it's going to browse what website? Team building, effective team building games. Okay. Anyway, so it's going to do some more research, then design and code the game. I hope so. As I implement new game mechanics. All right, so it's going to go to game development. It's going to go to this website right here. All right, well, do it. See how it's chunking? It's got all those characters, so it's too many tokens. It's too much text for the tokens to send it in one prompt to GPT. So it chunks it. It takes the first chunk as much as it can. It summarizes it, takes the next chunk, summarizes it, and then it sends it all to the GPT agent for analysis and response. And see, you get this, right? The text does not provide information on how to design puzzle games, et cetera, et cetera. That's most likely because it summarized those chunks and it didn't do a good job of summarizing. And I do want to point out that we are using Chat 3.5 Turbo, which it's not nearly as good as GPT-4. When I finally do get access to the GPT-4 API, I'm going to start to redo all of this to see how much better it is. I think it's possibly limited by the fact that we're still using Chat 3.5 Turbo, which is significantly less capable than GPT-4. All right. All right, since y'all can't hear the music, I'm gonna turn it down because it's actually too loud for me. I really want to know how to. You can request using Nightbot. You can request somehow, or maybe I don't know how to, while we're thinking over here. All right. Well, okay, so now that I have a basic game concept, okay, there we go. Now it's gonna write some more files. Right, so it's got a concept, and then this stuff starts to happen. See how before it's putting out the plan in a nice format. Well, when it goes out and it starts searching the web, somewhere it gets messed up in the formatting and it loses the ability to format that properly. That's usually a sign of a kiss of death. That's usually when it starts to spiral out of control. We'll see. So it's going to create a file called pseudocode.txt, and it's going to put that on my hard drive. So let's see what that looks like. Yes. All right. So it is true. It did put it there. Once it finishes this, let's go see what it looks like. I have noticed that other than that image that it put on my hard drive, pretty much every file it ever puts on my hard drive is 1 kilobyte, which means it doesn't really have much in it. It's not really doing much. All right, now that I have a solid game design, I'll judge. I'll be the judge of that. So now it's going to create the user interface. So apparently now the next step is it says it's going to write some code. But first, I want to go look at the pseudocode. Yeah, massive fail. I'll show you here in just a minute. Oh. See, before, this is the game. Here, let me enlarge this for you. Here. So this is some of the things that was coming up in the last run that I did, which was okay, but not great. This right here is terrible. Write pseudocode here. So it didn't actually write the pseudocode. So I think we're having some epic fails here. So let's go back to the terminal. All right, let's see if it can actually write this code. I'm not very hopeful at this point. Yeah, exactly. Command evaluate code returns. Yeah, so it's already trying to evaluate the code, but it hasn't written any code. Oh, I missed that. I missed it right here. Evaluate code. Yeah, it didn't write any code. Yeah, see, now that I have written Python scripts for the game, which it has not, it's time to test the code and ensure. So, and then I guarantee you what it's going to do next is it's going to start doing things like, it's going to start creating like user feedback documents and things. I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to see how far it'll hallucinate. But it apparently, it obviously, it is app. Oh, so yeah. So it says it's done. Right. So yeah, task complete. So I'm going to say that's a fail, but we still have some time. So let's take a different approach. Okay. Rather than trying to get it to write it to start with, let's do a full game design. Let's just have it design an entire game and see if we can at least get it to give us game design documents that we could code. And so let's just try that real quick, because it clearly at this point cannot develop code or code a game automatically. I think ChatGPT 4 would have better luck, but for now, so let's take a different approach. All right. So we'll call this game designer GPT. And we'll say an AI. It is an AI designed to autonomously design video games. It's simple. Video games. Okay. All right. So we're going to research trending video games. And then we're going to we'll just say research trending video games and come up with a concept to develop. And then we're going to say design the game, including concept, art, game loop, mechanics, etc. Then we're going to say provide, create, and provide all game design documents. with significant detail and actionable smart goals. Actionable steps. All right. Then we're going to go. Let's see. We're going to say, I guess we'll just say output all documents as files, I'll just say text files. No, because not all the documents. You know what? I'm not even going to tell it to output or put on a computer. I'm just going to see if it will. I'm telling it to create documents, right? I don't know. I'll be safe. Output all documents to my local drive. And then at that point, just shut down when it's done. All right, let's see what this does. Okay. All right, so I should research trending video games to come up with a concept to develop. I agree. So it's going to have to go research that. So basically, it wants to Google trending video games. It's the research part where Auto-GPT really sort of excels. Doing research, but where it sucks at is creating documentation based off of its research. I did a stream earlier today where I was doing a cybersecurity related Auto-GPT project, and my comment was, at the very least, you can write a script to parse all this output that it's giving you, these reasonings, the plans, and the output that it does give you. But you kind of hope that it does that. That's why you have these files. And I'm gonna, yeah, okay. Anyway, all right. So I need to analyze popular games, so it's gonna do that. It already broke. It's already broken. I probably should have restarted this completely, or did I? Yeah, it already shut down. It was restarted. So yeah, it's already broken its formatting. And so it needs to, yes, I like this. It needs to be careful not to completely replicate another game's mechanics or design. Yep. Even though game developers do that all the time. So it's going to browse this particular website for popular video games. I like that it gives it its critique, right? It says that I need to be careful of these things. Another good thing about this is what's funny is and some of the criticism that I've seen in some of the research I've had it do, it says that it needs to fact check itself, and then the fact checking it does is wrong. So like I said, this thing, it's a work in progress and it's in development, and I've seen this thing do really cool, really great things, but it does still have some limitations. But I would really like to see this thing develop. I mean, but it's scary, right? If this thing does get developed to its full capacity, I mean, we're looking at AGI, and then things get scary, right? You want Terminators? Because that's how you get Terminators. All right. So it's gotten some results, and it's got a little more things here. So notice, so it doesn't always have the system, the thoughts, but maybe it does. So here's this plan. It's going to do some more things. It's going to continue to brainstorm mechanics, come up with a backstory for the game, establish different factions. Wait, what did it? Okay, based on, I think, a multiplayer action game with fast-paced battles and unique character mechanics would be okay. So Fortnite. All right, what we got here? It's not created any new files yet, but that's to be expected. You'll see it create the files when it tells you it's creating a file. All right, so I will start planning out the game mechanics, art direction, and backstory. That's awesome. Gives you the reasoning why it's doing that, brainstorming unique characters, is what it's going to do. That's its plan. Um, I like that. I need to ensure that every aspect of the game is cohesive and well balanced. Go. So far, what I'm seeing is that the only benefit that this thing actually really has over using ChatGPT 4 is the fact that it has access to the internet and it can communicate. It can automatically communicate the results of its internet searching and document searching with the GPT agents, and it automates that communication. It can't really, it doesn't really do anything beyond that from what I've seen. It pretends, but it doesn't actually really do it. All right. It's basically still coming up with character classes, and it's still designing. And this is where I feel like that it hallucinates. It says it's doing all this stuff. And at one point I was assuming that it's actually putting all this stuff into memory, into cache, but I never see the results of it. And anything that it does spit out in terms of documentation doesn't even come close to reflecting the capacity of what it said it was doing. So I really don't trust it at this point. All right, so now that I've finalized the character class and abilities, yeah, great. Show it to me. Give me some documentation, dude. Like in Ready Player, where's the juice? All right. All right, well, let's keep going. It's still designing. I really hope you take all these thoughts and you output it to my hard drive. All right. Yeah, okay. With the game's mechanics and level design in place, I'll now begin working on the game loop and all that. Okay. Sure. Great. Give me the docs, man. Maybe it'll do it at the end, but so far I have not seen any proof through any of my workings with Auto-GPT that it will do that. But let's see. All right. Still not doing anything. Still designing, still talking, still yapping. Big talker, no action. All right. All right. Okay, what's it going to do now? Nothing. So with development of the game, oh, it's finished the development. Okay, awesome. I will now create a comprehensive document package. Thank you. I really hope it does this. All right. All right. I will now create a comprehensive documentation package that outlines the game mechanics, character classes and their abilities, level maps. I doubt it, but gameplay, instruction, scoring system, optimizations made through player Oh, it's going to give me a document with optimizations made through player feedback and testing and other important details about the game. It's hallucinating. All right. Well, let's see. I really want this thing to win. I want the people that developed this did such a good job, and I really want it to win. And it's just too early. And again, like I said, I'm not using GPT-4, and I think that's the real trick. After completing there it is. After completing the documentation package, I will create and review a schedule for game updates and patches. It hasn't given me a documentation package. Yeah. So and it wasn't even as thorough this time. But when I was messing around with this today, telling it to create a game, it did a lot of work, and it did create some documentation. And then it said it like created a game in Unity. It was like, all right, okay, finally, all documents will be stored as backup, and an executable file containing the game's code written in a compressible format will be created. Sure, okay. Okay, so it completed this complete story that it designed a game, built a game, and it hasn't delivered anything. I mean, at least the last run we did, it was actually putting some files on my computer. Yeah. It didn't do anything. It didn't even create any design documents this time. Wow. Yeah, okay. Well, shut it down. Let's see. All right, yeah, and that's it. Yeah, and if you look, it didn't actually create this is what it created last time. I really do like this file. It said it created this. It said it generated that. And I think it did because it probably used DALL-E or something. So, Cacto Jim says, created a story that it completely created a game and didn't deliver anything. Sounds like Cyberpunk 2077. Ouch. Shots fired. But it's true. All right. Yeah, so it kind of almost works, but not quite. And so, wow. So there you have it, folks. If you want to learn more about Auto-GPT, again, to be fair, it's in its early stages of development. It's barely like at MVP status. It's open source. There's a lot of people working on it. I have seen some impressive things that it can do, but it's got the limitations. Like I said, I'm going to keep harping on this. I think it will be better whenever I actually have the ChatGPT 4 API to do it. I think it's more accurate. We'll see what the results would be using ChatGPT 4 API. But I also think that it's got some work to do. But for now, I think that what we can take away from this is it does add the internet search capabilities, and it does add the my good friend Russell just joined the stream, and he's in chat, and he just asked if he should be concerned about me inadvertently creating Terminators, and the answer to that is an emphatic yes. Yes, because I welcome our AI overlords. Absolutely. So, going back to, the things that I think are positive is that I love the fact that it accesses the internet. I love the fact that it automates communication between the efforts that does going out to the internet and automatically sending that to the GPT agents and communicating and analyzing. So that there's something there. Where it really lacks is, one, it doesn't actually produce any of the local files, any of the local documentation. It tries, but it doesn't. But I think that can be improved upon. And I also think that, it hallucinates. It says it does things and it doesn't. But that is something that GPT 3.5 is notorious about. ChatGPT 4, the engine, it does not hallucinate nearly as much. Therefore, that's why I think that the ChatGPT 4 engine will solve that. So, but yeah, there's definitely something here. It's not quite ready for prime time yet, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye on it. Now, thanks, Russell. Well, that will mess with my dreams this evening. Great. So if you want to learn more about some of the things that I have going on with this, so on my other channel, go search, do a YouTube search for ThreatGen. That is my company's channel, and that's where I've been really working on this AI stuff. I'm thinking about adding some AI development doing some game development using GPT to this channel, since I am a game developer, and that's kind of what this channel's about. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some AI from a game development perspective, and on my other channel, the ThreatGen channel, because I'm already doing the GPT for cybersecurity. And by the way, just want to go ahead and do a pre-announcement. The official announcement should be coming out in next week or the week after. I just finished signing a book deal. I'll be writing a book called ChatGPT for cybersecurity, but it's more than just ChatGPT. It's about using generative AI and large language models in its entirety for cybersecurity perspective. And so there's a very fast timeline on. So you'll actually see the announcement and the pre-announcement go up on Amazon in the next couple of weeks. So there's that. And I'm probably going to be creating a course around using generative AI for cybersecurity based on that book. But that's why I'm kind of wondering if I should extend that into using generative AI for game development, because I'm going to keep an eye on this kind of stuff here, and I'm going to keep an eye on, the entirety of not just Auto-GPT, but generative AI and game development. So I'm gonna see what I have, and as my friends here in chat know, where do I get the time? Where do I find the time? I know that my friends are always accusing me of like, how do you find time to do all this stuff? And it's like, I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight on this late night and coming and check out this experiment with me. And yeah, and we'll see what we can do. We'll get some more going, and I'll be on another stream soon. So thanks everybody. Take care.